Today's story is about a former soldier who accidentally ends up in prison for murder after trying to protect his girlfriend from a group of troublemakers. However, when he arrives at the prison, he is shocked by the cruel behavior of the guards. The story begins with a soldier named Ray returning to his hometown after completing his military service. As soon as he arrives, he goes to meet his girlfriend, Kelly. Ray tells Kelly that he has completed his service to his country and now wants to dedicate the rest of his life to her. He wants to spend his entire life with her and proposes to her. Kelly is overjoyed and happily accepts his proposal. The two then walk toward their car together. However, Kelly realizes that she has left her book in the parking lot and asks Ray to go back and get it. Ray returns to the parking area to retrieve the book. Meanwhile, two boys approach Kelly's car and begin harassing her. Kelly tells them to leave her alone, but the boys continue bothering her. They know Ray is away and deliberately keep provoking her. Just then, Ray returns and notices the two boys. He immediately steps in to protect Kelly. Ray tells them to calm down because he doesn't want any trouble. But one of the boys gets out of the car and deliberately takes off his pants in front of Kelly to provoke Ray. The boy succeeds, and an enraged Ray gets out of the car and attacks him. Suddenly, the boy pulls out a knife and tries to stab Ray. Ray manages to dodge the attack. During the struggle, Ray punched the boy hard in the stomach and knocked him to the ground. The boy then accidentally falls onto the knife, causing a fatal injury. After the incident, Ray visits his lawyer to understand what will happen to him. The lawyer explains that Ray's position is difficult because he was physically fighting with the boy when he died. However, he promises to try to have the charge reduced from murder to an accidental death. This could prevent Ray from receiving a lengthy prison sentence. Ray is devastated because even a reduced sentence means being separated from Kelly once again. But Kelly comforts him and promises that she will wait for him. She tells Ray that when he gets out of prison, she will marry him. The story then shifts to the dead boy's home. His father, Harvey, is sitting with his lawyer and asks which prison Ray will be sent to. The following day, Harvey goes directly to the prison and meets Officer Jack. He explains what happened to his son and orders Jack to make Ray's life miserable. Harvey demands that Ray be tortured so badly that he will beg for death. He then hands Officer Jack a bag filled with money and leaves. A few days later, Ray arrives at the prison with a group of other inmates. They are ordered to stand in a line while three guards, Rico, Victor, and Foxy, stand in front of them. Rico orders the prisoners to remove their clothes so the guards can conduct a body search. After the inspection, Rico explains the prison rules. He warns them to obey every order and never fight with the guards or other inmates. Once the procedure is complete, Rico orders everyone to change into their prison uniforms and report to their assigned cells. Ray is then taken to the office of the prison's head guard. Officer Jack speaks to Ray about his courage and the medals he earned during his military service. He then tells William to take special care of Ray and give him the best cell available. But Jack's words are only a show. Instead of giving Ray a decent cell, William takes him to the dirtiest and most miserable cell in the prison. He tells Ray that this is the fate awaiting him and the other criminals inside the prison. The following day, Ray visits the prison hospital. While he is there, another prisoner tries to pick a fight with him. A confrontation quickly breaks out between them. Suddenly, the prison gang leader, Mayan, arrives with his men. Majan tells the prisoner that Ray is an Arab like them and warns him that anyone who tries to harm Ray will have to answer to his gang. The prisoner becomes frightened and backs away. Majan then approaches Ray and tells him that Arabs stand together no matter where they come from. He assures Ray that as long as Mayan is around, nobody will dare touch him. Ray thanks Mayan for stepping in at the right moment. Just then, head guard William arrives and angrily scolds Mayan for causing trouble. He then orders Ray to return to the work in the prison office. There, Ray meets another prisoner named David, who also works in the prison office. Later, Ray spends some time in the prison library. He avoids getting into arguments with the other inmates because Officer Jack wants him to stay out of trouble. But the next day, Ray is shocked when guard Rico and his assistants arrive to search his cell. During the search, Rico notices a photograph of Kelly. He begins mocking Ray and deliberately uses Kelly to provoke him. Ray becomes furious and starts cursing at Rico. Rico loses his temper and orders Foxy and Victor to drag Ray out of his cell. As soon as they pull him outside, Rico and Foxy brutally beat and humiliate Ray in front of the other prisoners. Victor cannot tolerate what they are doing and eventually walks away, returning to his cell. Afterward, Ray goes to the bathroom to take a shower. While he is there, a prisoner named Hammer attempts to assault him. Ray fights back and beats Hammer so badly that he loses consciousness. Suddenly, Rico and his men arrive. They strike Ray on the head and drag him away to the prison office. There, the officers verbally abuse Ray and accuse him of being reckless and refusing to follow the rules. They warn him not to get into fights with anyone if he wants to serve his sentence without further trouble. Ray argues that he was only defending himself and says the guards have no right to treat prisoners in such a cruel and barbaric way. Jack becomes furious and insists that this is the only way to control the inmates. Seeing the prison uniform, Ray loses his temper. He insults Jack and the guards, saying they are no different from criminals and that they belong behind bars just like everyone else. Hearing this, Rico and Foxy become enraged and start beating Ray with their batons. They then drag him to the bathroom and torture him by pouring freezing water over him. The next day, Ray returns to work in the library, where he sits with David. During their conversation, Ray discovers that David has been sentenced to life in prison. David explains that he and his brothers once robbed an armored armored cash truck, stealing more than $1 million and killing the guards who were protecting the money. Ray becomes curious and asks what happened to the stolen cash. David tells him that nobody knows where the money is because he secretly hid it inside a safe. He also admits that he regrets what he did because his wife and only daughter abandoned him after he was sent to prison. Just then, a guard arrives and tells Ray that he has a visitor. Ray is taken to the visitation hall, where he discovers that his girlfriend Kelly has come to see him. He becomes extremely happy and immediately starts talking with her. However, their reunion lasts less than 10 minutes before Rico and Foxy arrive and take Ray back to the library. Ray becomes furious and starts shouting. He cannot understand why the guards and officers continue treating him so badly. David then warns Ray not to come back to the library because he does not want any more trouble with the guards. The following day, Hammer is seen brutally beating a young prisoner named Jade, who is only 18 years old. Ray steps in to protect Jade and attacks Hammer before the situation becomes fatal. At that moment, Chief Guard William arrives and separates the two prisoners. Rico and Foxy try to attack Ray and take him away for punishment in solitary confinement. However, William stops them. He declares that Hammer and Jade were responsible for the fight and says that both prisoners will be punished. He then takes Hammer and Jade away. After this incident, Ray decides to join Mahjong's gang. He believes that becoming part of the gang will earn him some protection and make the guards think twice before bothering him. His plan seems to work. 4 weeks pass, and during that time, Rico and his men stay away from Ray and do not cause him any trouble. But one day, while Ray is cleaning the bathroom, another prisoner suddenly enters and attacks him. Ray blocks every attack and eventually beats the prisoner until he collapses unconscious. Just then, Officer Jack, Rico, Foxy, and Victor enter the bathroom. Instead of helping Ray, they angrily scold the prisoner for failing to kill him. Jack then orders his men to restrain Ray. Once Ray is tied up, Rico and Foxy begin beating and torturing him. When they are finished, they throw Ray onto the floor and walk away without showing any concern. Victor becomes disturbed by what they have done and confronts Rico. He tells Rico that their actions are completely wrong and threatens to report them if they continue harassing Ray. Rico calmly warns Victor that if he gets caught, Victor will also be implicated because he was involved in their illegal activities and owed them money. Victor replies that he no longer cares about the money and refuses to cover for them anymore. Just then, Chief Guard William enters and demands to know why they are treating Ray this way. He threatens to have them investigated if they do not stop immediately. Rico and Foxy become terrified by the warning. They quickly go to Officer Jack and tell him what happened. Jack learns that Victor has backed out of their agreement and is now threatening to expose them. Jack becomes extremely nervous and orders Rico and Foxy to deal with Victor as quickly as possible. He even tells them that they should kill him if necessary. Rico and Foxy follow his orders. They murder Victor and then frame another prisoner for the killing. Later, Ray and David are taking a shower in the prison bathroom. Suddenly, Mahjong's men enter and kill the prisoner who had previously fought with Ray. Ray is horrified by what he witnesses. Things become even worse when he discovers that the murdered prisoner was one of Dodo's men. Dodo is the powerful leader of the Mexican gang inside the prison. Ray immediately goes to Dodo and tries to explain that he had nothing to do with the murder. However, Dodo refuses to believe him. He threatens Ray and promises to take revenge for his fallen man. Ray then returns to his cell and confronts Mayan about the killing. Mahjong suddenly attacks Ray, pins him down, and presses his foot against his face. He tells Ray that nobody has the right to question his decisions. Mahjong then makes it clear that Ray will now work for him and follow his orders without question. When Mahjong threatens to kill him, Ray has no choice but to agree. He accepts Mahjong's demands simply to stay alive and protect himself inside the prison. Later, Kelly comes to visit Ray at the prison. However, Rico and Foxy stop her at the entrance. They tell her that she must remove all her clothes before entering the visitation room because they claim they need to make sure she is not carrying any prohibited items. Kelly reluctantly agrees because she desperately wants to see Ray. However, Rico takes advantage of the situation and secretly takes a humiliating photo of her before showing it to Ray. Ray becomes furious when he sees the picture. He then enters the visitation room and angrily tells Kelly never to visit him again. Ray's harsh words break Kelly's heart and she leaves in tears. Afterward, Ray goes to David and confronts him about everything that happened. Before they can talk for long, Rico and Foxy arrive and drag Ray to an abandoned section of the prison. There, Ray comes face to face with Mahjong. Mahjong reveals that he has made a deal with Officer Jack to make Ray's time in prison as miserable as possible. He also reveals that he sent his men outside the prison to capture Kelly and record a humiliating video of her. Hearing this, Ray loses control and attacks Mahjong. However, Rico and Foxy quickly intervene and try to stop him. Ray manages to overpower them and begins fighting back. He is about to finish them when William suddenly arrives. William strikes Ray on the head and sends him to solitary confinement. Ray remains locked inside the isolated cell for a long time. The darkness, freezing conditions, and complete isolation gradually begin to affect his mental state. He spends his days screaming and desperately hoping that someone will come and rescue him. Eventually, the warden notices Ray's deteriorating condition and orders William to bring him back to the regular prison. After Ray is released, William questions him about what happened to Rico and Foxy. Ray refuses to reveal anything. The next day, Mahjong orders Zed to kill Ray. He promises Zed that he will will become a member of the gang if he carries out the order. However, Zed refuses because Ray has always treated him with kindness and supported him. Mayan becomes furious. He takes several of his men to Zed's room, where they brutally kill him. When Ray learns about Zed's death, he confronts Mahjong. Ray calls him a cowardly traitor who hides behind his gang and the protection of corrupt guards. One of Mahjong's men takes offense at Ray's words and attacks him with the intention of killing him. But Ray fights back and beats the man until he falls unconscious. Ray then challenges Mayan to fight him in front of the entire prison population. Mahjong becomes frightened and initially tries to avoid the confrontation. The other prisoners begin mocking him and call him a coward for refusing to face Ray. Their insults finally push Mahjong into accepting the challenge. He attacks Ray and a brutal fight breaks out. After a fierce battle, Ray defeats Mahjong and humiliates him in front of everyone. Mahjong refuses to accept defeat. While lying on the ground with a weapon in his hand, he tries to attack Ray again. David steps in to protect Ray, but ends up getting injured. During the chaos, Dodo takes advantage of the situation. Seeking revenge for his fallen gang member, Dodo attacks Mahjong and kills him. After everything settles down, Ray goes to Officer Jack's office. Ray is shocked when Jack tells him that his prison sentence has been doubled because of his repeated fights. Ray becomes devastated and asks Jack why he has treated him so cruelly. Jack finally reveals the truth. He admits that he accepted a large amount of money from Harvey in exchange for making Ray's life inside prison unbearable. Ray is deeply hurt by the revelation. However, it is soon revealed that the entire confrontation was actually part of a plan. Ray had secretly recorded Jack's confession at William's request so they could expose the corruption inside the prison. The authorities arrive to arrest Jack. William then orders the guards to take Jack, Rico, and Foxy into custody for their crimes. Later, Ray visits David in the prison hospital and asks him about the location of the stolen money. Ray promises David that he will return the money to his daughter. He also encourages David's daughter to visit her father in prison. Eventually, Ray is released from prison. He goes to Kelly and sincerely apologizes for the way he treated her. Ray then meets David's daughter and gives her the bag containing the money. He tells her to use it to rebuild her life and to visit her father. With everything finally behind him, Ray decides to start over. He chooses to leave his painful past behind and build a new life with Kelly. And with that, the story comes to an end. If you enjoyed today's movie summary, don't forget to like the video.